Hello and welcome to Road to Rediscovery's Telesummit. Learn amazing ways to let go of your past and create your future. I'm your host, Donna Hill. My guest today is Mia Saenz. Mia is a self-love teacher with a spiritual tone. She makes her home in both Los Angeles and Miami. Also known as the Passion Muse, Mia began her second phase of life as an inspirational speaker who aided others in finding what she refers to as their passion core. As her work evolved, it transformed into helping people connect to their divine core. As a divine intuitive, reading one's soul is part of that work. Mia is a media radio host with her show The Passion Muse, Web TV, and Summits, and she is also an author. Mia, it's my pleasure to welcome you today to our Telesummit. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Donna. It's a pleasure to be here. I love the topic of Road to Rediscovery. It's just very, very powerful, especially in these times when people are searching for something more. So thank you.
Thank you for that support. As we have heard throughout this Telesummit this week, the concept of self-acceptance is an important one. Taking this concept a step further, you have a great message for us today about self-love. Can you explain the difference between self-acceptance and self-love?
Well, self-acceptance is a very important part of self-love because we can't have self-love without accepting ourselves. Self-acceptance is a deeper path that we're on. It's beyond the baths with candles and music. It's beyond the food we eat. It's beyond the daily affirmations that we give ourselves. Self-acceptance is learning to love truly who you are and accept yourself, which does go hand in hand with the depth of self-love. Self-love is very, very deep and rich. People think it's just about, oh, I'm okay and I love myself. No, it's understanding who you are to the very, very, very core of your soul. And so self-acceptance is part of that journey. They both, it's sort of like a family where you've got your mother and your children and, you're all closely knit, or that's what you'd like it to be. Or it's a beautiful pattern on a comforter or a quilt. It's part of self-love. You have to have self-acceptance in order to be completely in tune with your self-love. If you can't have self-acceptance, you most certainly don't have self-love. And that's really all part of the growth is first, working it and understanding what self-love is, and then get your self-acceptance, which spreads into even more deeper, richer self-love. It goes down even deeper into your core of who you are.
And I would imagine, for both, it's about completely accepting yourself as an entire package, the good and the bad, the not-so-great things as well as what you're proud of.
Yes. You have to look at everything in your life to understand what you're embarrassed of, what you're humiliated by. You have to accept everything that you've done in life. You have to be authentically true. You can't hide secrets. We don't share things that are nobody's business, but I know that when I've interviewed people as a radio host that you mentioned, I can't let people come on my show if they cannot be authentically true and give their true name and their true experience. It's a lie. It's not who we are. We can't live in falsity. We have to live in honesty.
I love that you brought that up, because if we can't be authentic, I don't know how. I don't believe it's even possible to move forward and heal from the past, because it's all based on yep. So I'm definitely glad you brought that point up.
And can I talk briefly about the differences?
Please do.
There's so many different levels of this, and I know that we're going to get into it further down the way, but with the self-love and the accepting of ourselves and the honesty, people don't understand until they actually start to do work that our bodies are pretty much numbed out in the human form. We don't live within our bodies. We keep ourselves numbed out. And I'm not just talking about alcohol or drugs or sex or whatever. I'm talking about our everyday life, that when we're working on planet Earth here, we're not thinking about who we are. We're not within our bodies until we learn to take that step and switch it. When we can switch it, we're always feeling amazing. We're looking at trees amazing. We're looking at the beauty of what's around us. Even though before it might have looked ugly, we see it as beautiful. We see everything different. You feel it within your core, within your body. You're not numb anymore. And that's the remarkable difference in self-love, is when you get to that point where you feel everything. And some people say, oh, I don't want to feel that much. You know, I've heard that from guys. I don't want to feel like that. Well, goodness gracious, if you don't want to feel, then you're not accepting who you are, because we are these amazing souls in this human body. And so we have to learn to live with both of them. We can't numb out and not, you know, feel our body. I mean, so many people walk around not even, you know, feeling that their arm is itching because they were just bit by a bee, or, you know, simple things like that. We want to be in touch with every little essence of our senses.
You know, I think, especially in the society today, things are just so hectic and crazy, and our schedules are so overloaded. I think we're all pretty adept at suppressing our feelings and our emotions and staying out of touch just so we can get through the day, because it's so overwhelming. And, you know, it's a freeing idea to believe that we could feel so freely. And if you're not feeling on that deep level every single minute of every single day, then you're not really living your life.
Exactly.
You're just passing time.
Right. And we have this opportunity to make a difference for ourselves and our loved ones, let alone the world, you know. Mm-hmm. So why not wake up and get busy on taking care of ourselves? We have to do it at some point. If we don't do it in this lifetime right now, we're still going to have to deal with our issues with our soul down the road in another point in time. And so why not conquer it? When I learned that as a very little girl, as a metaphysician, I thought, why not face things now? Why not heal things now? Was it always like that? No, I spent, 20 years of my life numbed out. So I get it that it's really difficult to say, hey, I want to face this. But once you do and you start understanding and feeling your growth and your change, it's pretty mesmeric. It's very amazing. It's wonderful. And that's the only way I personally want to live.
Which brings me to this question. Could you share a little bit about your own personal rediscovery, or as you call it, your awakening?
Sure. Yeah, they really are the same, a rediscovery and an awakening, because our soul knows all. It's just in this lifetime on planet Earth, we're trying to remember who we are. And when we want to remember is when our consciousness opens up and allows us to do that. My awakening, my change was drastic 6 years ago. I've had many awakenings over my life, but I was dying. I had less than 2 years to live. My organs were closing. I was extremely overweight. I had an accident where some boxes fell on my head at a very popular store, and so I was incapacitated in a wheelchair when I had to leave the house. I couldn't walk. I couldn't even walk to the neighbor's house without being panted and exhausted and, crying because my body ached all over. And that was forcing myself to walk there. So my awakening process happened 6 years ago, and it actually happened on my birthday. And I was having a major birthday that year, and I sat on the couch. I got up and I sat on the couch and I thought, okay, so today is actually the day I tell my husband whether I'm staying with him or leaving him. And this was a contract that we had made a few years back because we were not getting along. My life is miserable. It's my birthday. I've never been happy. And I started looking at stuff and I thought, wow. Then I reversed it instantly and I thought, what would it look like to have an amazing life? What would it look like to have the things that I would think that I would want to create? So I imagined what it would look like to have a happy relationship with a man. It wasn't the one that I imagined, was not my current husband at the time. What would it look like for me to be able to move freely without the wheelchair or aches or pains, or going to physical therapy 4 times a week and still not having anything happen, but worse. I had slight paralysis in one of my legs from the accident. I mean, just miserable, crazy stuff. So I dreamed the most magnificent life, what my business would look like, what my, I was a writer, but I couldn't even imagine having my own company like I do today, what my life with my children would be like, what I could bring to them, what I could bring to the world. So when I imagined all that, it was so magnificent that I believed I could create it because I didn't want anything else. When you see the dream that you totally want, you can't go any other way. There just was absolutely no way. For me, I would be dead in 2 years. And when I took this step forward to recreate my life, get out of the wheelchair, build my inner core, lose weight, get in shape, I also thought I would end up dying as I did it. But I took that choice to move forward. If it killed me faster, it would kill me faster. But I would have accomplished what I set my heart and soul to do. And that's what I told my kids. I said, I'm changing my life. And it may kill me sooner than the 2 years, but it may prolong my life longer. And so they were like, okay, Mom, whatever you need to do. And so that's what I did. I planned it out, just like a business plan. I wrote it all down. I figured out how to get out of that chair, build my inner core, what food I was going to start to eat on January 1st, 2009, what I was going to do with my writing career. I had no idea that I would be the woman I am today. Absolutely no idea. But I knew that 30 days in, when I had already lost 25, 30 pounds, because I lost 20 pounds a month consecutively for 7 months, and no surgery, this was all heart-mind connection, that when I started to progress that far and people were remarking at my physical strength being, apparent, and that I looked different, and I was so grateful that I just instantly turned my heart over to God and said, I know God has saved me and I'm here to serve. So that's where my life totally changed even further, was I became a servant to everyone, to my, to bringing out the divine message that, who we truly are and our placement, on this planet and in life and throughout all lives, how we are aligned to God. I don't normally get, really preachy about God. I use the word divine, creator, whoever I'm working with, I use their language. I find out what their religion is. I find out, their methods, and we work that way, so it's totally amazing when you shift from, I can't even tell you. There's no human words to express it when you shift from having a life where you really are dying. You really are dying to having a life where you're so happy and just so grateful at every turn. It's such a blessing to be able to breathe, to be able to be me. It's a blessing.
It's so inspiring to listen to you, and you transformed everything about your life, your body, your mind, your thoughts, your health, everything switched up, and it's just absolutely incredible. And as you talk about this, I hear the enthusiasm in your voice, and it's just, I can still tell how palpable that excitement is for you that happened. It sounds miraculous.
I think I'll always feel this way. I know the gratitude is so deep, and it's who I am, that I talk about this all the time on, I'm a public speaker, I have a radio show, et cetera, and I've given talks, hundreds of times, but each time I feel the joy again. I feel the gratitude again, and I think that that's part of the blessing, is still being not in awe of what happened, but being in such deep gratitude that I had this experience and that I can share it with others, and through that, lives will change. I believe we learn experientially, and so through my experience, I hope it'll help others. I've learned through other people's experiences and shifted very quickly, quantum-like, and it's really just all a part of our soul listening to what's out there, to the beauty that's out there, and seeing how it resonates with us, how it feels, because we are more than just this human body in this lifetime. So if we are actually souls connected to God in the spiritual sense here, then we've been around forever. So when we remember what we are is when we can, just continuously be grateful. And that's where the beauty comes in and changes in our own lives, is when we continue to be grateful.
That's beautiful. I just wanted to briefly rewind just a little bit and just you've mentioned, you knew the time that you had this shift in the way you were thinking about your life. And my question is, was it a gradual process, this shift, or did it happen like instantaneously? Did you just say to yourself, this is it now?
Yeah, it was instantaneous. It was. And that's really what healing is all about. Healing is instantaneous. See, my thought shifted, my thought healed, and then my body followed suit. I discovered ways to improve my body, to heal physically, to become strong, to become better, to become slimmer, to become, whatever the challenges are. And I'm not a Barbie doll anymore like I used to be when I was young. I'm a plus-size girl, but I'm still incredibly beautiful,
Yes, you are.
Yes, thank you. But we all are. See, I see us all the same. I see everyone's soul as opposed to their physical elements that are out there. So I think it's also a shifting of our consciousness what changes us and gives us the strength to move forward into blessing our lives, which will bless everyone's.
I just want to take this moment right now to thank you for sharing that personal story, because it is so powerful. And along different intervals during this summit, this telesummit, the speakers have shared some personal stories. And I find that to be so profoundly inspiring and hopeful, because you've done it, and you know how you did it. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
What brought you to being a self-love teacher?
That is an incredibly great question, but it's very simplistic. My childhood, even though I was raised metaphysical, there was a lot of dysfunction, disharmony, abuse in my life. And so when I became an adult and was on my own, I had to learn how to survive without wanting to kill myself. And there was a point 25 years ago, or almost 26 years ago now, when I was 25, and I was very, very despondent about my connection with my mother, my human mother. And I knew that I had to change my life. So I dug into prayer, and I can't even remember how I started with some of these brilliant things that I even teach. I know it came from the divine, from channeling this, but I began to love myself in ways like mirror work and hugging and bathing myself, special baths. And I legally changed my name. I don't think I've ever told that in any of the interviews in the last 6 years I've been on. I legally changed my name, and I'd love to share it briefly if it's okay.
Oh, please.
I was born having the same name as my mother, my father, and my grandparents, because my mother married Frank, and she was Francis. My grandfather was Frank, and my grandmother was Irene. So I was named after my mother, Frances Irene. And it was too painful to have this connection with my mother, because she was incredibly suffocating and very selfish, and including my money, anything I produced, she would take. And at 25, I had been married for 7 years and still couldn't handle myself. So I knew that my first break of self-love was to change my name, to separate myself from her that way. And so it took me several months. I would listen to every name, and nothing settled in on me. And one night I was crying, as we do when we're in any of our awakening moments or our transition moments. And I said, Father, what is my name? What is my name? And the voice said, you're Mia. You're from me. And I said, that's it. That's my name. I called my attorney the next day, and I had already hired him to change my name. I just hadn't settled on the name yet. So we went through the legal process and changed it. And from that moment on, everybody called me Mia without even ever going backwards and saying, this is your name. Of course you're Mia. So
I love
it's
it.
Beautiful.
What a defining moment, too, to leave the past behind by doing that. And you're truly not the same person in all ways that you were.
Well, at that moment, I had also said by my 25th birthday, if my life doesn't change, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I didn't know. Truly, I hadn't thought about a method of killing myself or anything like that. I just knew things had to change. Mm-hmm. So that was another rediscovery or awakening moment in my early life, I had been, and just for your listeners, if they haven't followed my work, but I've been molested, I was raped, and I had a stalker all by the time I was 17.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
I had Playboy hounding me at the beaches to shoot me while I was in my bikini, and it was, not while I was, they gave me their business cards, but it was crazy. I didn't have the loving upbringing from a mother that nurtured me. She kept me at bay in competition. So if I had a nurturing mother, I wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have had the experiences I had. But also, let me state that I'm grateful for my childhood and my upbringing, because without it, I would be a totally different person, and I love who I am now. So I have to say I'm grateful that I chose this life.
The fact that you can say that signals to me true healing, because I think so many of us struggle with getting to the point that you've reached with that, because there's resentment, and there's, why me? Why did it have to happen? Why did all that pain have to happen? But you're right. I mean, you wouldn't be Mia right now. The Mia we all know if this didn't happen.
Yeah. And I'm a third-generation healer. My grandmother was as well, and brilliant. So I'm grateful that I have this lineage. I'm so proud of coming from wonderful spiritual people that could literally heal others instantaneous. It's beautiful. I'm just grateful I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for every step of the way. Did it hurt? Yes. Was it very, very difficult? Yes. Was it dark? Yes. Was I lonely? Yes. Was I repressed where I couldn't even laugh out loud? And now I laugh so loud that sometimes my husband and friends are like, wow, did you hear Mia laughing in the other room? She was loud. And it's like, yeah, but that's okay, because that's me.
Good. How can someone who's seeking their own rediscovery benefit from self-love teachings or your teachings?
I feel that it's the only way to go, is to connecting to self-love in order to totally awaken. Everybody is on their own path, whether they realize it or not, to be their happiest, which is being in total alignment with the divine, which is all self-love. It's all little acts coming together to put on a huge performance of who we are. And I don't mean a performance as in something fake or false. I mean as in bringing together this beautiful production of, I'm Mia, you're Donna, somebody else has a beautiful name, and that's who they are. So creating the most amazing person that we can create is absolutely discovery, but it also has to be on self-love. How else? And it's so funny, because the more I teach and the more I speak, I realize self-love is connected so deeply to everything. It's connected to our spiritual beliefs. It's connected to our family love. It's connected to the money in our bank account. It's connected to the food we eat for our body. It's connected to our relationships with friends, family, lovers. It's so deep that you can't have the benefits of the true beauty of any of what I said or stated, that's our true gift from God, without having self-love, without understanding who we truly are.
That's so true. It's the cornerstone of everything.
Yeah, it
everything. Is. Specifically, what tools could you share with us that can help us go through this rediscovery process?
Well, what comes to me now to share with you guys is, in the very beginning, when I was telling you about my awakening process and that dream state that I was in, I do have my clients actually dream their most amazing life. So dream the most amazing, outrageously fantastic life you can dream, whether it's for 20 minutes, 1 hour, a day, a weekend. If you're very unimaginative and you need a weekend, great. But take the time to dream what stirs your soul. Create a movie of your life, because without actually doing this, we don't know, as people, as anybody, we don't know what we want until we take the time to actually create it. Does it seem ridiculous at times? Sure. Would it seem ridiculous to me if I thought about it being ridiculous, being on the couch, not being able to get up and outside the door and losing all that weight, and, being able to stand up in front of people and talk and, hit so many people a week on my radio show? I couldn't even imagine that aspect of my life back then. But dream the most amazing dream you want to accomplish, and when you start to move towards that with your belief system and you create it, it will blow your mind where you are in 4, 5, 6 years, because the blessings that come are so bountifully that you can't even imagine. At first, when you first start this, you can't even imagine all the beauty, because it takes time to reconsider, revamp our dreaming process, revamp who we want to be, recreate constantly. It's constantly about being alive and awake and moving through things. My projects that I do all the time, they're constant, beautiful downloads from the divine, I believe. I couldn't have thought of this stuff by myself. I mean, yes, I probably somewhat, but it totally comes from another source. It totally comes from the divine. It totally comes from God. And that's why I believe that self-love and all this are such a foundation. It's our inner core of who we are. When you mentioned the passion core, our passion core is what gets us stimulated to keep our dream alive, to keep being loving and passionate about what we want to do, who we want to be, how we want to create ourselves. Without that, we're stagnant. We can't move forward. There's oftentimes people are in places where they feel like, and I've said it too, when I'm creating different things, I can't do this. I just don't know where to go. What do I do then? I know for me to first denounce that. That's not true. I do know that I can create. I do know where to go. I quiet myself and I pray, meditate, which I combine together, and I talk to my higher self. I talk to God. I get so clear that then I'm an open funnel for amazing gifts that are being brought down into my consciousness.
I think the challenge for most of us would be not to put any limitations on these dreams and these visions of what we want our lives to become, because I think on some level we might be a little afraid to dream too big, and I think we definitely need to take your lead on this, and no dream is too big.
You're so cute, because when you said dream too big, I'm thinking of people that I've heard say, well, I'm happy to just make $100,000 a year. Well, why don't you want to make $1 million a year?
Exactly.
Is that dream too big for you? Why is it too big for you? Look at why things might be too off the books for you. Do you deserve to have exactly what is your birthright to have? Yes, you do. And you deserve to find the path in which to create it. Each of us have that right.
I think, too, as women, this has come up on another call this week, that as women we find it maybe more difficult to receive than we should, that getting a gift, we feel guilty, or we feel that we need to deflect it, or we feel that we need to give it over to somebody else. So just the act of receiving, we need to let that go and receive and dream as big as we want to dream.
To be perfectly balanced, we have to love our masculine qualities along with our feminine qualities. And if we're just in one place or the other, then we're unbalanced. Receiving is a masculine quality. And so to learn to embrace that quality is so magnificent. I couldn't receive until a couple years back, and my life totally has opened up even more when my husband, I remarried, when my husband taught me how to receive and love. And I was just shocked that I'm such a giver that I didn't know how to receive. And that's where I was having blockages. We have blockages when we can't receive, because it's telling us we can't receive money. We can't receive love. We can't receive compliments. Well, that's a huge blockage right there, isn't it?
I can't tell you how many times somebody's given me a compliment on, my shoes or my whatever I'm wearing or something, and I just, oh no, or oh no, I got this for $10 at such and such, and I just totally take the wind out of their sails and ruin the compliment, and I don't receive it, and so that's been something consciously I've been trying to switch up a little bit, and just to be able to say thank you, and move along.
I was that way too. But when you stay in your passion in everything in life, when somebody compliments you on your shoes, and it will take training, but say somebody compliments you on your shoes, instantly pull that passion out and say, thank you, I love them too. I got them at blah, blah, blah. Or however it fits that individual person to speak. Because when we're passionate about those little things that we've done that we love and somebody else recognizes it, is brilliant to share that passion with somebody else and thank them. Thank you. I love them too. The first time I heard somebody say that to me, I was a child. My mom and I went into a girlfriend's house that was phenomenally gorgeous. I mean, angels painted on their living room ceiling, just brilliant. And my girlfriend's mother said, thank you, I love it too. And I thought at first, wow, that's kind of weird, but over my life it stuck with me, and I'm like, that is the most gracious, loving, elegant thing, is to love and express thank you. I love it too. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful.
We've touched on this a little bit ago during your talk about your personal story, but why is it important to learn to accept and let the story go? How big is the story for us?
Our story is who makes us and breaks us, what makes us and breaks us. So if you use your story to grow for grace and to move forward for strength, it's perfect. If you use your story to stay in the victimhood, it's not. You won't get anywhere. So our story is vitally important, and it's vitally important to let it go. Because when we stay in the pain of anything that is attached to our story, we're not healed. Letting go of our story is healing us. How to let go is a whole different topic. It's a really big thing, and it's fabulous. I actually teach that now, how to let go of your story. But so some ideas of letting go of your story is fall in love with yourself through self-love. Realize that what you went through growing up, or even as an adult, because trauma at any age is just as important, is just as valuable to work through and to be blessed by as it was, say, when you were a child, as when you're 30 or 40 or whatever happens. So letting go of the story is so important to understand who you are, where it came from, and what you grew, and how it blessed you. I believe you need to find blessings in your story. Not everybody's story is perfect, and some are much darker than others. But if you find a blessing, even a small blessing, a tiny blessing, your blessings will grow in your story, and your story changes from bad to, I can live with that, and it's okay. It's blessed me because I've grown. It's blessed me because it's made me who I am. It's blessed me because it taught me how to love more. It blessed me because it taught me how to see people how God sees people. There's so many ways in which we can utilize our story to move into grace and glory and beauty, true inner beauty. Beauty is not my hair, my eyes, my smile. Beauty is who I am from inside, that light, that spirit light that shines out from within. That is what beauty is.
As I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about the story or the plot line of our lives, and I think there's also another aspect to it, and it's the mini plot lines or the little sub-chapters where if someone asks you, what do you do, or, who are you, and you think, well, I'm a grandmother, or I'm this, or I'm that, I think we need to be conscious of that just a little, the mini story, too, because that kind of, whether we realize it or not, probably, keeps us in a box with our identity. If
you asked me who I was out on the street or at a coffee place or something, I would probably smile so big at you and say, I'm Mia. I'm a self-love teacher. Because that is who I've become. That is what makes me sparkle and shine. Or in a different light, I could be, I'm Mia, I love coffee. Our story of who we are changes in the moment. Our core essence does not change, but our story can change. You know what I mean?
I do.
Does that make sense?
I just think this has been a fantastic talk. I can't tell you how grateful I am that you're here. You've really enlightened us all with your ideas, and I know it's going to be very helpful to those in our audience. I know you're also involved in a lot of undertakings, a lot of projects and things, and I was wondering if you could share that with our listeners and let them know where to find you on the web.
Sure. I love what I do, obviously, in life, and so I feel like a big computer download at times. So my website is miasaenz.com, and if you need to know how to spell my name, it's probably on your daily email. And It's Miasaenz, pronounced as many street signs. It's Spanish.
And we'll provide a link too.
Wonderful. I have a CD that's coming out at the end of the month called Spirit Light, and it's a very deep working guided meditations. The first one's called Inner Love. The one that I'm sharing with you guys as my free gift is Contentment. There's Restful Intentions, which teaches us how to sleep peacefully, wake up happy with the intention of having a beautiful day. And also, I teach people in our work together through this type of stuff how to set our internal alarm clock so that we know, it's our intuition, but we know when it's time to wake up without our alarm clock. I suggest you continue with your alarm clock, but it's so much fun to wake up right a minute before the alarm clock, all fresh and renewed, and then you hear your alarm clock goes off. So there's so many, there's a few other meditations on there too. I am also, as you mentioned, a writer, and I have a book coming out in the fall on my self-love work. I have a lot of events. Just follow me on my website, and if you'd like to sign up for my newsletter, it's wonderful because I provide a lot of free gifts and just let you know what's happening and where you can see me and people that I'm working with and how to work with me and all sorts of stuff. So many blessings. I almost can't even express them all because they're just like a pantry full. I feel like I have a well-stocked kitchen because everything I want, I do, and I actually even have, I'll just say it briefly because I think it's very fun. It probably won't be out for a couple years because we're working on it slowly, but I'm even working on a documentary for women called The Rising, and it's about almost feminine essence, how we lost our feminine essence and how we're regaining it. It's a very, very beautiful documentary. So there's, I'm so vast in what I love to share and create that I hope that I keep surprising people forever. So.
I love your excitement. You're a busy woman, but you just love what you do, and that's the key.
I do.
Right?
I do.
And Mia mentioned this very generous gift of hers, and we'll have a link on our site for that. And Mia, I want to tell you, I think you're beautiful, and I think you're a survivor, and I appreciate your honesty and transparency and sharing your story, your personal story with us. I know it's helped me to listen to it, and I'm sure it's helped our listeners, and I am very grateful you joined us today. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so honored that you had me and your lovely words, and I hope that there is a blessing for each person that hears this, and thank you so, so much.
Thank you.